Hello and welcome back to another Queermas episode of Swords and Sapphics. I'm Rachel.
I'm Ivy.
And this is the place where we talk all things representation, including queerness and femininity, and it may include sharp objects and jingle bells.
It is day 9. This is the third podcast episode. We have one with Lizzie Huxley Jones, writer of Make You Mine This Christmas, Imogen Markwell-Tweed, writer of many books, Bus Ticket Baby among them. And then we have several fantastic articles and interviews on our website.
We do.
With last few to go.
Yay! I can't believe Queermas has come around so quickly and we're nearly done.
Yeah. 3 more days.
Yeah, but 3 more days of wonderful content. So make sure to keep updated.
And then Christmas.
Yay! It's really nearly Christmas. I'm very excited.
I know. I am too. I want to brag a bit because my Christmas second year in a row is Scarlet Witch Christmas.
Of course.
So from you, I already got my shirt and my comic book, which I'm currently reading, and I'll get more, and I'm just so happy.
Yeah, it's what you deserve. You're very easy to buy for, I must say.
Yeah. I've Misha, my friend, told me, like, while it's easy to figure out what to buy me, it's difficult to pinpoint the exact thing that I don't have yet. Because I'm a collector.
Yeah, and also make sure no one else is buying it at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I got you your shirt, because I was like, I want to get the comic books, but I also want to get something unique because I'm special. I have to be special and different.
You are my greatest Christmas gift.
Oh,
the most unique and specialist of Christmas gifts.
Oh, stop it, you. But in the spirit of Christmas, let's talk about our favorite Christmassy media, because we've been asking our guests what they like to watch and read over Christmas, but we haven't talked about it ourselves, and we love to talk, and we love Christmas, so we have to talk about
us.
Yeah. Let's talk about us.
Yeah. It's time for us to shine for a bit. Absolutely.
Ivy, tell me everything about your favorite Christmassy movies and TV shows.
So, I will talk about it. I will mention it in our interview with Claire. But Klaus is one of my all-time favorite things Christmassy. It's an animated movie by Netflix. It came out like 2 years ago, I believe. And every year, especially last year, I watched it several times. Since the November, that's my start of Christmas, I start watching Klaus until the end of December. This year, the Christmas mood did not hit me just yet. But I will be watching Klaus this weekend, or perhaps next week when I'll be wrapping Christmas presents. And I'm just so ready. I love the movie so fucking much. It's so good. It's fucking fantastic. Apologies for my language. It's just so good. Go watch it. It makes me cry every time, and I've seen it so many times, and I cry every single time. It's just so good.
I really get it. Like, the animation's so fucking beautiful, and I love a cartoon with a good animation. And this one really has it.
Rashida Jones is one of the main characters, and she's anything with Rashida Jones I just eat up because I love her.
Absolutely.
And it's just so good. It's such a good movie. It's not a romance. Like, there is a bit of it, of course, but like, it's about the spirit of Christmas and the community, and it's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I can't stress it enough. I love it very much. I'm just very excited. I want to watch it now. I just hyped myself up for it.
You can tonight or tomorrow, whenever.
Yes. And then, of course, there is Love Actually.
That's my favorite.
That's just, look, we all know the issues with it, but I grew up on it. That was the one movie that we watched as a family with my mom and my brother, which was weird with the scenes with Martin Freeman. No, different Freeman.
No, Martin Freeman. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Martin
It's
Freeman
just John to me.
and Joanna Page, I believe she's called.
Yeah.
Who is for British people, you'll know her as Stacey from Gavin and Stacey.
Yeah.
So it was quite alarming to see her titties.
Yeah, and you know what? I was watching it as a kid. As I said, like we were watching it with like my mom and brother, which again the mood turned awkward quickly. And I was watching at the tits, and I was like, noise, and I thought I was straight, yo.
Yeah. I remember the first time I watched it, I was watching it with my aunties, and I do believe that they forgot about that scene. So they were quite alarmed that little old me was sitting there watching.
You know what? There was a lot of things going on in my head when I was watching it, because I was like, oh, that's a porn movie. It was certainly something for a young child to watch that.
Yeah. But it made us who we are. It's character building, if nothing else. Character building, sexuality building. What more do you really need in life?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And then I have to mention our Czech movie, Tři oříšky pro popelku. In translation, 3 nuts for Cinderella. That's our heritage. That's our culture. Every year on 24th, that is a must watch. I love it endlessly. I'm no longer a fan of Czech movies, though we did produce some fantastic like fairy tales with all the castle around our republic.
Yeah.
And this one is just too iconic, too good. Simply pure perfection. I can't stress it enough.
Yeah. I need to learn Czech so I can watch it and enjoy it, because I love anything.
You know what? Every year I try to find it with English subtitles. I'm not lucky just yet.
Oh, one day.
Yep.
You might have to dub it yourself.
Myself. Yeah.
Do all the character voices for me.
Certainly. So what about yours? I mean, I know all the answers. It's so clear. Like, it's so obvious to me.
I'm a simple woman. It isn't Christmas until I've watched first Home Alone. Home Alone comes first because that's the build-up to the main event. Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2. Then it starts being a little bit Christmassy. And then now we've built it up, it's time for Elf.
Oh my.
I love Elf.
What then?
Well, Elf's the main event, although Polar Express is a great Christmas Eve movie for me. I love the magic of Polar Express. I even have the bells on my tree that's from the movie, you know.
That's very cute. I still don't understand how the animation did not freak you out completely.
I was a little bit older when I watched it, really. But that little boy who goes, hey, you know what kind of train this is? With the glasses, he really pisses me off every year. And of course, that scene of the girl swinging her legs on the bench with hunched shoulders really haunts me still. Oh, and there's also, of course, the scene with the puppets. Yeah, it's pretty haunting now that you mention it. Now that we go through it. But the rest of it,
it's just their dead eyes. There's no feeling behind it. It just when I watched it as a kid, I could never watch it again. I don't know what it's about anymore. I just see their eyes and I'm like, whoa, no.
I get it. But, you know, Tom Hanks, and there's just something very magic about it. The music, the soundtrack, it's just everything that I love about Christmas. I love it so fucking much. Yeah. It's definitely the Christmas Eve movie. And then, of course, also a Love Actually aficionado. I have to watch that every year. The Holiday, another great one. What could be better? First of all, Jude Law as a single dad. Kate Winslet, no need to expand upon that. It's Kate Winslet. Cameron Diaz again. And then we have Jack Black, a romance hero. And I recently saw a TikTok about how Jack Black is seen through the female gaze, because men don't understand why we have a thing for Jack Black in that film. And then someone said, like, because he's written through the female gaze, because he's funny and he's kind and he never takes advantage of Kate Winslet. Like, he's not an alpha dick. and he also is going through the same heartbreak as her. And he makes a song for her. And that's the difference. Like, the male gaze is hypersexualized and just meh. But both of the men in this movie are equally as soft and wonderful because they are both just kind men who do not threaten the love interest with the chance of heartbreak. They're very steady, and you know that they're right for them. And it's just it's a beautiful film.
Yeah, I feel if we know something, we learn something, is that men are fucking stupid. And they know nothing about women.
Yeah, they can't seem to understand why we like these nice men.
Yeah, who are kind and good and not playing any games and appreciate the woman they're with.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know why we would ever like that.
Because you're crazy girl.
Yeah, but I it's really a special one as well. Honestly, I have so much love in my heart for Christmas films in general. I wait all fucking year to make them my entire personality, and now the time's finally come.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I feel like there was something else. Oh, okay. So on the page of Love Actually, we must also give Bridget Jones a mention. Although, let's talk about this a minute. Both in Love Actually and Bridget Jones, the main characters are fat, and it's mentioned several times. They're supposedly fat, right? They're called fat. They're and the lads, neither of them are fat. Mattie McCutcheon is a very voluptuous lady. She's very hot. She's not fat though. She's not even plus size. Renée Zellweger put on weight to be Bridget Jones, and she's still just a normal body type, like very average British lady, because I think our average is like size 12 to 14. So she's really just the mid-size average in Britain. And it's crazy that we grew up in a world where we believed that those two women were fat and that it was amazing that Hugh Grant and Colin Firth were in love with them.
Yeah, just the fact that like it was surprising that they were the romance, like main characters.
Like the whole premise was them stooping in air quotes. We're just like average body size in the UK. It's fucking crazy.
Insane.
But it's good that we can still watch it and enjoy it while knowing that certain things of it are not good and are not healthy. I feel like that's very important with all media, but it especially comes around at Christmas time because there seems to be a lot more problematic films at this time of year.
Yeah, especially like, of course, not everything will, rarely something will age well. And that's, I think, a part of like the growth of society and how it changes. But it is important to like understand it and be able to say, hey, this was wrong, this is not good, even though you love the movie so much.
Yeah. And honestly, Love Actually is the only film with an ensemble cast that I've really enjoyed. Like, I tried Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve, films like that. It's just something about the British. They know how to make a bloody good rom-com.
Look, I can honestly say all the British media that I've consumed in the past few years are 100%, like, are unreachably better than American movies. And it maybe is because I have the European, like, just way of thinking and enjoying stuff that are like more European. But just like we're talking about Trying, even like with Ted Lasso, I don't know if it was produced by British, or Killing Eve, the same thing. If it's more like Europe directed, it's much better than American thing. Always. And every American rom-com, like I believe it's almost everyone, you have a woman that wears something revealing, and they're always like, oh, you're not on a French beach.
I've never seen that,
like,
but
it's I get so allergic to it. Like, anything I watch American, there's at least one reference to like something like French or European. Like, they think we're walking around naked just because we're not. We don't burn women for showing a bit of cleavage. I don't get it. It's pissing me off at this
No,
point.
I think we've established that Americans know absolutely nothing about Europeans. Like even with the Christmas cracker saga that we mentioned in the last episode, something is going on there. They're being fed lies. They sit on a throne of lies for the elf fans out there. I think for me, Americans kind of go into it wanting the glossy, like surface level, like very superficially romantic and vibes, but with I know I'm biased, but like for me, British comedies, they feel much realer and more sincere, and like who doesn't want Hugh Grant stumbling over his words? Like there's just something special about that.
And also with like Hollywood, everything is just too perfect. Like even the actors, but like with British media, it's because it's so much smaller that there's not like more to pick from.
Yeah.
That they're looking more like normal, more people-like. Around you. And not to say that Emma Thompson isn't fucking amazing and gorgeous woman, but especially in Love Actually, she's really that like sort of normal mom.
Yeah. Like she's not had, well, to me she doesn't look like she's had like facelift and stuff like that. Like she's just very, you wouldn't be surprised if you passed her on the street, but while she's very beautiful, she's a very she has the face of someone who's lived and who lives among us. Like they're not on another level, they're not gods, they're just people. And I think that's the magic of Love Actually, because if you look around, Love Actually is all around us.
Yes. Absolutely.
But yeah, there's just something very, very special about that film. It's very fucking British. It's the most British film I could ever recommend. One storyline nobody talks about for me, and that
I know where you're going. No.
It breaks my heart. I don't know her name. Nobody knows.
Okay, I thought you were going somewhere else, and now I'm confused.
It's the lady who works in the office and is in love with the European man. But she has a mentally ill brother, and she has to be his carer, and they're kind of like, she just has to sacrifice that, and they just have something very special, but they can't act on it, and nothing ever comes from it, and it's just the most heartbreaking part of it for me. Like
it really is. Yeah, especially like again, there's sort of like that theme about her punching above her weight with him.
Yeah,
like that everybody knows that she's in love with him.
Yeah,
and they always like laugh it off as ridiculous.
But which one were you gonna say?
I thought you were trying to talk and spread your Colin propaganda.
Oh yeah, and he has a big knob. Colin the sex god. Look, I'm a simple woman. That film on its own wouldn't do it for me, but I grew up with Chris Marshall in My Family, which is a British comedy, and I loved it very much. And he was also a detective in Death in Paradise. And look, I was depressed in uni. I did go through some mental breaks, and Death in Paradise was a glorious tropical island for me to escape from. And I did so happen to fall in love with Chris Marshall for a while. So yeah, I can't complain that Chris Marshall is in that film with his big knob.
It's so heartbreaking to me that from all the possible men that you could pick from the movie, you could go for Colin Firth. Like, you could talk about him, write a fucking essay, write a fucking book about him in this movie in particular. And you go for the worst character in the entire movie, Alan Rickman included.
I'm not choosing him. Like, Colin Firth's storyline is definitely a firm favorite, and I'm always going to choose my Colin. But the other Colin the sex god, look, it's fucking funny. Is it sexualizing blonde women in America? Fucking yes, it is. But like, it's just funny. It's just funny.
Every time I see him spitting out the food and putting it back. Makes me gag. Yeah. It's so disgusting.
The fact that he goes to America specifically to get laid is certainly something. Like, you can't say he doesn't try.
Imagine being so like desperate to travel into a different continent to get some.
God bless his soul. Anyway, we went off. We digress. Another thing we should mention is Dash and Lily. We need more Christmas-centered 30-minute episodes, 30-minute episode shows, because Lily and Dash was very soft and cute.
Lily and Dash was
Dash and Lily.
Amazing.
I get the names in the wrong order.
And you got me wrong.
Yeah.
Even Let It Snow. Like I didn't read the book, but the movie is amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's a really cute movie. It really is.
It's really,
so actually, I tell a lie. I did enjoy that as an ensemble thing.
Yeah.
But then I read the book a couple of years before the film came out, and I was in my John Green era, and I enjoyed it. I rolled with it.
I had it. I owned it. I bought it around my John Green era, but then I got out of it before I could read it. So I never ended up reading it. But I give the movie a shot, and it was really good. And Dash and Lily was just this pure and joyful and just the celebrating of Christmas, and we had a queer couple, and again it was just it just was. There was no one against it. It was so pure and so good and fun. Just love it very much. And what kind of bookworm that wouldn't like to see a Christmas movie or show centered around finding leftover books? Like,
I know, it was very soft. I do love those type of plots, and it's like, again, it's one of those things you kind of wish you was younger so that you could get the full experience of loving it, because it was centered around teens. It was very soft, and the like aesthetic of it as well was just so Christmassy.
Yeah.
I have a confession. I watched Christmas with You last night with with Amy Garcia and Freddie Prinze Jr. It wasn't as bad as the trailer made it look, I must say. I did not know that Freddie Prinze had a Latino heritage, so it was very interesting to see that. And like in the movie, he was called Miguel, and he was Latino, and very proudly. And it was actually a really great film. I'd imagine. I can't speak on behalf of people of color, but it was a great like Latino positive film. I was thinking there was only like one white character there. It was cheesy. It was all the things the trailer advertised it to be.
Yeah.
But I had crippling stomachache, so it helped me through. It didn't make things worse, and that's what matters.
Yeah. Look, after I watched what's her name?
Lindsay Lohan.
The movie that after I watched that movie, I feel like my bar for kind of cheesy and cringe and not that good is it's just in different places now, so I'm rolling with it now.
You have to. Look, it's the only time you get to watch really shit films and just enjoy them anyway. Like, that's what Christmas is about. You don't look for quality, really. You just look for the vibes. And if the vibes are there, even if it consists of Lindsay Lohan wearing a neon pink suit and getting amnesia and falling in love with Sam from Glee, you just have to roll with it sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, that's our take. Let's talk to Clare Lydon, author of The Christmas Catch and Christmas in Mistletoe, in our special Queermas episode. Okay, let's get started then. We're here today with Clare Lydon, author of The Christmas Catch. Thank you for joining us, Clare.
No, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Would you like to introduce yourself first?
Okay. My name's Clare Lydon. I'm a sapphic romance author, and I've got 22 romance novels out now. And I've been doing it for 8.5 years. And people read my book, so that's always a surprise and a delight.
Yeah, amazing. The Christmas Catch takes place around a disaster journey from Glasgow to Devon. Have you ever had a similar experience, or did you take inspiration from other media?
Yeah, I think probably this one came from my love of Christmas movies. So I love this time of year. I really do. I like Christmas Day itself. I'm not that, it's sort of always a bit anticlimactic, but I love the build up. I love November. I love December. So yeah. So and I think I've watched so many Christmas movies. Like honestly, I've probably watched about between 30 and 40 at this point this year, and that's pretty normal. So my wife's used to it now. She just lets me go. But yeah, so I think that I really wanted to encapsulate one of those, those sort of rom-coms in a book. And so I think I probably took inspiration from the gazillion Christmas movies I've watched. I tend to watch them more than I read Christmas books, although this year I have read more Christmas books, including yours, Rachel, which I love.
Aww.
But I've never had a journey like that, thankfully. I've had a couple of trains break down, but I don't drive, so I wouldn't be driving a car. But I've never had a plane breakdown. No, so it was just purely dreamt up.
Yeah, I think it's more believable with it being British with the state of our public transport.
Well, yeah, I think like I wrote this last Christmas, so the trains were a little bit better Christmas. This Christmas, like I think everyone's having this journey, right?
Yeah.
Like for people who haven't read the book, it's trying to get from Glasgow to Devon, so it's about 500 miles. And yeah, at the moment in Britain, it would be. I think everyone's having it.
Yeah.
Second chances and stuck together are just some of the tropes that you used in the Christmas Catch. With so many books that you've already done, which tropes do you find more fun or interesting to write, and why? And any that you turn to most often, perhaps?
I think the one I really do like second chance books. I don't know how many I've written of those. Maybe four or five. So I'd like second chance romances. I'm a sucker for those. I love the thought that you could, there might be a first love waiting for you, and then you meet them down the line. And in romance books, they always forgive any wrongdoing you've done in the past. I mean, I think I've written a few books that You're My Kind and Twice in a Lifetime spring to mind, and I've had readers say to me, I'm not sure I would have been as forgiving as the lead characters were. And to be honest, I'm not sure I would be either, but it makes for a better story if they are. So I like the fictional worlds that I create. So I think I'm a romance lover, and I'm a romantic at heart. So I always want things to work out. In romance novels, there's always a happy ending. And I think I love that part of the second chance romance, the forgiveness and the coming back to, destiny, I suppose. I'm a big believer in that. The one I find really, really difficult to write, and I've tried to write it a number of times, but my characters just always start flirting with each other on the first chapter, is Ice Queen. It's hugely popular in romance. People love an Ice Queen, but I find those really hard to write. I don't know. I think I like. I think I really like fake relationship. I really like reading those. I haven't really written one apart from Change of Heart, and I really enjoyed writing that. So I think maybe that might be in my future. Maybe another fake relationship, but second chance romance and sort of small town romance, I really love that. I just read Destination You by J.J. Arias, and that is a brilliant that's sort of Ice Queen, but also small town romance as well. She does that really well, so I should take notes.
Wonderful.
In the Christmas Catch, Morgan is eager to get home to build a gingerbread house with a family, which is very sweet. Do you have any traditions of your own that kind of played into this book or any of your other books for Christmas?
Well, I've never done a gingerbread house. I was just watching Saturday Kitchen actually, which is I don't know if you were watching it today, and they had a gingerbread decorating competition on there. So I would really like to do it actually. But I feel like I'd be rubbish because I've got two staples for baking: banana cake and occasionally sort of chocolate chip muffin type things. That's it. My mum was a really good baker back in the day. But we never ever decorate a gingerbread house, but it's always in those Christmas movies you see that. So and I know that they do, like there's lots of courses and sort of events now, isn't there, offered all around the UK. Never used to be, but gingerbread decorating. So but I did try and bake some gingerbread cookies in the shape of people last year, and and my icing efforts were woeful, and I did put them on social media and said this is not how it looked in the book. So probably if I did that in real life, it would be a disaster. Traditions I've got, well, I just love the build up to Christmas. So we went to Hyde Park's Winter Wonderland this week or last week, and had some Glühwein, mulled wine. I don't think there's a difference, even though my German friends all tell me that it is that Glühwein tastes better, but I think it's the same thing. Mince pies. I love a mince pie with some Bailey's cream. Mainly just food and drink traditions, really. I like all the Christmas food and drink. But we're going, actually, my wife and I are going to see a Christmas sort of gig tomorrow night with all the Christmas classics by a crooner. And I do like that. We're going to go. So I like all the sort of eating and singing and drinking. That's basically it.
That's all British culture is, really.
It is, yeah.
You also have another Christmas book called Christmas in Mistletoe. Is the town of Mistletoe inspired by a real place, and how did you decided to name it that? It's quite unique.
It was inspired. Yeah, it was inspired by a real place. I mean, Christmas in Mistletoe is based. It's again a small town romance. There you go. There's my favourite tropes coming back in. It was inspired by a place called Rabness, which is in Essex. Essex, yeah, I think so. And we went there for a weekend because we went to stay in this art house. And so this place called Rabness, it's tiny. It's like a hamlet, and in Christmas and Mistletoe, there's a shop that has a building at the back that turns into a bar at night, and the people that run the shop also run the bar. So they close the shop and they open the bar. This actually is a thing that happens in Rabness, and the bar opens Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's it. And there's probably a couple of hundred people live in the village, and they all know everyone. And we went into this bar, and they were all like, "Oh, you must be the people staying in the art house," because there isn't a hotel in this town. They're like, the only visitors they get is this art house visitors. So yeah, everybody was so they were all such a bunch of unique characters. And I remember just sitting in the bar thinking, I have to put this in a book somehow. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I just thought this is so strange but so great that I have to just cement it in a book. So that's where the idea came from. But in Mistletoe, obviously, there's a Christmas tree farm and there's all sorts of other things that are not in Rabness. But yeah, if you ever do go to Rabness in Essex, do go on at the weekend and go to the bar, because it's such an experience. Everybody brings like food in, and like, I don't know, maybe it was because it wasn't that near, it was November, so Christmas-ish time, but everyone just came in and was talking about Strictly that they'd just watched, and everybody had a plate of food and everyone was sharing it around. It was amazing. It was like a place that you wouldn't dream existed. So yeah, that's what inspired Mistletoe, and obviously I called it Mistletoe because Christmas.
Yeah, wonderful.
I did a little scroll through your website, and I was so excited to see that you're writing something inspired by the Lionesses next year. Do you want to tell us a bit about that? What you can tell us, at least.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I'm this book is it's one of those books that I started off and I was like, yes, I'm going to do this. I pushed another project aside because I was so inspired by the Lionesses. I went to one of their group games. I was at the final. I love football. I'm a new convert to women's football now, and so I was so inspired by them. And I've always kind of been asked, would I ever write a football book? Because everybody knows I'm a big football fan, but I've always shied away from it for some reason. I think I know the reason now, because I'm I'm battling with the second and third drafts. Like, why have I done this to myself? But the first draft came really easily, and now I think I'm just focused on getting all the details right. And I think I'm a bit scared of getting some wrong, but I don't know why, because I'm a huge football fan. I understand it, and I've read a lot of football journalism, so I know how to describe things. But yeah, for some reason, it feels a lot more personal. For some reason, I don't know. But anyway, I'm sure it will come out well in the end. I'm just having a battle with it at the moment, but I am excited about it. And yeah, it's a romance between one of the sports psychology coaches and a footballer who comes over from America. So that's the sort of setup. And
Amazing.
there's what else can I tell you about it? I'm not sure.
Any tropes?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Trope wise, what is there? I suppose rich girl, poor girl in the basically I based the American star kind of as a hybrid of like Megan Rapinoe, Abby Wambach, that kind of thing. So she's like the star striker for America. So she's got a lot of fame, and obviously the other woman doesn't. She's got a lot more money, and the other woman doesn't. So it's kind of sort of that kind of thing. And then obviously sort of fish out of water because she's an American in Manchester. So there's a lot for her to learn and get on board. And yeah, so it's fun to write. And yeah, I don't know how much more I can say.
Amazing. I don't even like football, but the idea of a sapphic football romance just does something to me. I'm very excited.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of them next year. I didn't even realize. I just did it because I was inspired and by the Lionesses' victory, but I think there's going to be a lot of football books coming out because I think a lot of other people would have been inspired, but also there's a World Cup next year. So the Women's World Cup takes place in July, so I think there'll be a glut of football books on the market, which is always good, right?
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate sports, but I love nothing more than sports romances. I don't know why. As you already mentioned, you have over 20 books. Insane. Is there something that still surprises you about your process or your characters? And what did you find that now is much easier than it used to be and the other way around?
Question. What was the first part again? Sorry, I've forgotten it. Terrible,
if there's something that still surprises you about your process and or your characters.
I suppose that it changes all the time. Like I think people think that because I've written so many books, I've got a process that I've honed down to a fine art, and I wish that was the case, but it's not. My process changes all the time, and it just depends on what's happening in your life, I suppose. Like this year I've only written 2 books, which is not that productive for me. I normally write 3, but it's just I've had a very busy year. So, but I think maybe it took a while to get into a rhythm of writing sort of 2 or 3 books a year, and I thought that you kind of think, oh well, I'm in my rhythm now, but then it always changes. So I think I'm just I accept change now, a bit like track changes, accept change and move on. It's a very good motto for life. But yeah, so that it always changes, I suppose. Surprises me, but now I'm used to that. And what was the second part of the question?
If you find something that now is easier than it used to be, or the other way around.
No, and I think as well, people always think that publishing a book gets easier, but it doesn't. It's always you're always worried about how it's going to be received, and you always kind of think, is this book that's going to find me out? That people are going to hate or something. Luckily, that hasn't happened yet. But you live in fear. You live in fear as a writer, I think. But it's always very heartening and very gratifying when readers get in touch with you and tell you that the book's connected and that they like it. So, but I do think that people always think that it gets easier it kind of doesn't. It just changes, like I said. But we do cover. I think you said earlier that I have a podcast that I do with my fellow author and friend TB Markinson called Lesbians Who Write, and we talk about this every week. And it's a common thing. TB always says that every time she presses the publish button, she has a panic attack. So yeah, I'm not quite that bad, but yeah, it doesn't get easier. It just changes. That's all.
Thank you.
One thing I will say is that I think your book was one of the first that openly used the term lesbian. Like, you find now there's a lot of bi and pan characters emerging, which is amazing, but there's still kind of a lot of underrepresentation when it comes to lesbian and just using that word as well. Not really a question, but just a step, just something I noticed.
Yeah, I think as well that language changes. You know, like it's a bit like what the answer I just gave about my process and things. You know, when I started off in 2013, I wrote my first book, London Calling, and published it in 2014, and it was very much, you know, I'm a lesbian romance author. I now describe myself interchangeably as a lesbian romance author or a sapphic romance author, because at the end of the day, I want to be as inclusive as I can be. I am a lesbian, but not everybody who reads my books identifies that way. So I still call myself a lesbian romance author, but I also call myself a sapphic romance author. I don't feel like there's lesbian erasure, but I think there's room for everyone. So yeah, but if there is, I always make this joke. If there is lesbian erasure, I want to be the lead singer.
Yeah, amazing. And you should be. Because me and Ivy always say, like, it's so special to just see the word on the page, like whether it's just sapphic or our own identities. And especially in the lesbian sense, I think people are always afraid to toe the line of that word. I don't know whether it's like what came from the past, but it's really nice to see.
Okay, yeah. Now I've always been very proud of using it, and I want to own it, because, you know, yeah, I agree with you. It's always had negative connotations put on it, but that's by society, so you've got to take it back and own it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
Oh, we was actually a good lead to this question. We were going to ask you if you wanted to talk a little bit about your podcast, Lesbians Who Write, with TB Markinson.
Oh, okay, I've already prepped myself. Look at that. Yeah, it's a podcast that we. It's a podcast that we started. So TB and I have known each other for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. She used to live in London, so we met a few times. And she now lives back near Boston in the US. But I think I just suggested to her, we were at a conference 5 years ago, and I just suggested to her that we should do a podcast just based on what it is to be a full-time writer. And because we both are independently published, i.e. we run our own publishing companies, we employ people to help us, and we publish ourselves. So what does that entail? Because I know that there's a lot more people coming into that realm, and so we wanted to just shine a light on, like, the process behind the writer, and to help people, and also just to chat to each other every week. So we did that. So it's been going, I can't remember, we're up to episode 170, so it's been going for a fair while, I think about 3.5 years, 4 years. And we really enjoy doing it. We thought we might be running out of questions for a while, but now we seem to have found new questions to ask. So it's good if you're a writer, just tune in, because we'll answer questions that readers ask, but we also just chat. And I think people quite enjoy just hearing us chat. So I know quite a few writers just say that we're like their mates. So that's nice. Because as you know, when you do podcasts, you don't really know who's going to listen, if anyone's going to listen. Now, I guess it's a bit like writing a book. You do it in a kind of a vacuum. So it's nice to get some feedback as well.
Yeah. We're very new to it, so we'll definitely be giving it a listen, see if we can learn from it.
Or you can just learn what to do and what not to do as well. You know, we talk about the things that we've done that haven't worked. So
amazing. Yeah, we'll definitely give it a listen. On the note of your own publishing company, who's behind Custard? Because I love that name as a publisher. I said to Ivy, oh my God, the publisher is called Custard. I'm obsessed.
Well, custard is my favourite word.
I love it so much.
Yeah, so that's why it's Custard Books. There's no yeah, that's it. So yeah, I was trying to come up with a name and I thought Custard. So yeah. And I used to run a different a side company as well called Hot Dog. So my accountant always said he got hungry doing my accounts.
Yeah, I bet.
Amazing.
Yeah, so yeah, I run my own publishing company. That's purely because when I decided to do everything myself, I decided I'd set up a business. And so yeah, I needed a name, called it Custard Books, and away we go. So all the books I've published, English language anyway, I do myself. So I employ cover designers and editors and proofreaders and all that. And put them out into the world myself. So I have teamed with publishers to do translations and to do audiobooks. Some audiobooks I did myself. I have done one translation myself, i.e. I didn't do it, I hired a translator. So with other languages I do a mix. So I guess I'm a hybrid author now, which sounds very posh, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, busy.
Yeah.
You've mentioned that you watch quite a lot of Christmas movies. Is there some festive media that's your favorite that you return to like every year, or that starts the Christmas season for you?
Yeah, well, I guess Christmas movies, because at the Christmas 24 channel, they call it here, I think it's the Hallmark channel in America, that starts in September. So I look out for when it starts. I am obsessed. So I probably start watching Christmas movies in October, and then I row back and think it's too soon, Claire. But you know, Christmas books start coming out in October, don't they? I launched mine in October. When did you launch yours, Rachel?
Oh, mine came out in November, but I was writing in April, so it was Christmas all year round for me.
Right, yeah. There you go. So yeah, I mean, I was, people are always scared to put Christmas books out in October, but I just think you need. I launched Christmas Mistletoe last year on November 23rd, and that was too late, but that's because I was behind schedule, so that was my fault. So, or 2 years ago. So this year I decided I'll do it in October because they need a big chunk of time to readers to find them. But yeah, I suppose really the media I come back to again and again are the cheesy Christmas movies, and I always like to watch The Holiday and Elf and Muppet Christmas Carol. I've only done one of those so far. I went to see the Holiday in concert with a live orchestra, so I went over and above this year. And I think this year as well, I've read a few more books, so festive books, which I haven't done that much in previous years, but you know, I know people like them. So and I write them, so you'd think I would read more of them, but I've read loads more books this year, which has been great. I set myself a reading challenge, so I'm up to 44 now, which is pretty good. So, and probably about 5 or 6 of those have been festive.
I think festive sapphic fiction is having a moment at the minute, so there's really no better time to delve into them. It's really great.
Yeah, well, I think so, and I think that it's coming from indie authors, it's coming from publishers, like mainstream publishers. So that's really good. Obviously, when I started, no publisher would think about putting 2 women in love in a romance. Absolutely not. Women kissing, no. I was turned down by so many different people, but that turned out to be a good thing, because then I set up my own publishing company, and I love that because I'm a control freak. So, but but now everybody wants to publish ladies kissing, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 2 women on the cover, which is wonderful always.
Yeah, definitely.
We usually talk about things that we're currently loving at the minute. So is there anything you're obsessed with, whether it's like a film or a book or TV, anything that you just want to gush about?
We're going to come back to Christmas movies again. Sorry, it's that. I have just read as well Sarah Morgan's book. Now I don't know if you're aware, Sarah Morgan. She's a straight romancer. And I'm interested by her process, because she was a Mills and Boon writer, and then she became just like a romance writer. So she's got loads of books behind her. But her process is she writes one summer book, one Christmas book. Now that's it. She's in her 70s. She's got the most fantastic garden office that I follow her on social media, and she does. But she does every year. Her Christmas book is brilliant, and I always read that. So that's called Snowed In for Christmas. That's really, really good. And the other book I've just finished, which I did mention, is J.J. Arias's Destination U. I've never read any of her books before. I was blown away by this book. It's fantastic. It's kind of, I don't know if you've read it.
No,
either of you read it? No. But it kind of breaks quite a lot of romance rules. It's super low angst, but the emotion that she makes you feel is just brilliant. I wrote her a note just to tell her how amazing it was. So yeah, so I would recommend that book. And other than that, I don't know. It's been Christmas movies. Sorry, I'm a one track person. Aren't I?
There's nothing better.
What about you guys? What have you been obsessed with?
Well, I just got recommended The Spirit of Christmas, which is like a made-for-TV Christmas film, and there's a ghost and they fall in love, and it's just usually I calmly watch the cheesy Christmas films. Like, I love them very much, but there's not any that I could name now by heart, but this one really did it for me. I don't know if it was the ghost or just, yeah, it was really great. It's on Amazon, actually, if anyone is looking to watch it, in the UK at least.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm not really fan of Christmas movies. I don't know why. It's just like, except Klaus and Love Actually. So Klaus is a Netflix animated movie from like 3 years ago, and every year I watch it since November until the end of December, like several times. And I haven't watched it this year yet, so I'm excited to do that tomorrow, because what better? It's snowy outside, so I'm very ready to do that.
Yes, still snowy here. Yeah, amazing. It'll probably it's going to warm up for Christmas, obviously.
Yeah. I was just saying,
there's one movie called.
Sorry. Go on, carry on.
No, there's one movie that if you see it on the Christmas 24 channel, you should watch. It's called A Christmas Movie Christmas, and it's about two women who wake up they're obsessed with Christmas movies, and they wake up in a Christmas movie. So it's taking the piss out of itself. It's quite funny.
Oh, amazing. I need to look out for that one.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm still waiting
for a lesbian Christmas movie.
Yeah. I mean, we had The Happiest Season last year, but it was just the sexuality thing was the obstacle, so it didn't feel as gratifying as it should have done. But maybe next year.
Especially when Aubrey Plaza was supposed to be the end game. That's the hell of a title. On my deathbed, these will be my last words.
Yeah. I think I'm sure there was a lot of fan fiction written about that.
Yeah, we were talking about recently, like the fact that there are so many sapphic Christmas books this year feels like everybody wrote sort of like their fix up of the movie.
Right.
And it really does fit. Yeah.
Well, TV and film producers have plenty of content now to go off, so fingers crossed. Maybe next year we'll get our sapphic film, Christmas film.
Well, yeah, it would be really nice just to have one where, you're so right. It's like the sexuality should never be the issue like that. It never is in my books, because it's just like, yeah. And you still get reviews, sort of people say, oh wow, they were just happy being who they were. I'm like, that's most people I know.
Yeah. I got the same feedback. Like, the first time I queried with my agent and got feedback from my publisher, they liked that it was just normal, but that's how I'd always written it for me, because like, that's how you want to see it as a queer person.
Exactly.
Well, until now we're really getting just the representation by straight people that was around coming out, or there was also like homophobia from family, and there was a lot of obstacles just to get to the happy ending. So it's still really shocking and refreshing to have some form of media where that isn't an issue, and you just feel so good.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And I think with all the, I haven't been watching a lot of the Netflix shows like Warrior Nun and a couple of the others that have recently been cancelled. And I think there's been a lot of furore around that. And yeah, it's just like, well, read books, because there are so many sapphic books coming out, Christmas and otherwise, and those authors are not going away anywhere. So they're not being cancelled. So you're safe with us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're running out of time, so we shall wrap it up. But it's been so lovely to talk to you. I'm really loving the Christmas catch. I've nearly finished, and I'm very excited for the good old reconciliation.
No, thank you so much for asking me and having me on. It's been fun.
Same. Thank you very much. And enjoy your holiday and more Christmas movies.
Yes. Absolutely.
Only a few days to go now. Got to pack them in.
Yeah. Come round quickly. There we have it. Our third interview of Queermas. Yesterday, we had out an article from Anna Denish about poly relationships and versus love triangles, which was really great. We've had interviews, as Ivy said before, with Imogen Markwell Tweed and Lizzie Huxley Jones, and we still have stuff left to come. Watch this space. So this has been very exciting. Queermas is going wonderfully.
And we're almost done with it. And then we're taking a break.
Yeah, a real one.
Yeah, not this one where we're taking a break and creating 12 days of content in a row.
Yeah, it's been a lot. But we're nearly at the finish line, and we've enjoyed it so much. And again, we're so grateful to all the authors who are participating. Like, this was just an idea in my ADHD brain. I was like, oh my God, when I was feeling particularly invincible, I was like, we should do a 12 days of Queermas event. And I did not foresee how much work that would be, but it's been really good fun. And we hope you've been enjoying it too. Please do support all the authors and the books that we've been mentioning. And let us know your festive favorites as well, because we always want to know about you.
Precisely. Well, thank you. And
remember to support women's rights.
But most importantly, support women's wrongs. See you later, alligator.
In a while, crocodile.